So, good morning. My name is Sharon Morse, and today I'm going to be doing my informative speech today on the single parent homes of African Americans in our community and how that affects us. I will be explaining a few reasons for the lack of African American fathers being present in the home and the actual effect that it has on the mother and the child. At the end of the speech, there will be a short question and answer session if you should have any questions for me. Today, I just wanted to start by giving you a statistic. Huffington Post reported that in 2013, 72% of all African American homes are led by single mothers. Is that shocking to you? To me, that was pretty shocking, even though I am an actual statistic of being a single parent with children. Actually, being able to see that statistic, that put it into perspective that we are dealing with an epidemic, and this is a huge problem in America. There are many reasons why, but today I'm going to only focus on 3 reasons why there are a lack of fathers in single parent homes. So if you could just think for just a moment, where have all the fathers gone? That's the first question I wanted to pose. And if I wanted to ask a question, if somebody could give me one negative aspect of a single parent home, not having the father in the house.
The fact that the mother has to play both the male and the female role in the child's life. You have to be that nurturing parent, but you also have to be that disciplinarian.
Absolutely. And if somebody could give me a positive aspect of single parent homes, because there are positive aspects.
It makes that parent stronger and helps build a stronger base for the children, because you know what not to base their life on with that negative person.
Absolutely. I am going to be discussing further some different pros and cons further in the discussion. But first, we go ahead and get into it and want to dive a little bit deeper to find out exactly why this epidemic is. In order to understand the statistic of 72% of African American households being ran by single parent homes, we actually have to look to the past. We have to look to the foundation of how this all happened. One of the first reasons that I'm going to speak about that created the separation of the African American family was due to the trauma that took place during slavery. When the slaves were captured during the slave trade, they went through something called the Middle Passage. That was where they were transported from one area to what they called back then the New World. As they were transported, they were separated. Mothers were separated from fathers, children were separated from their parents, brothers and sisters were separated. So that was the beginning of the separation of the family. When they went through the Middle Passage, 10 to 15% of Africans died on their way to the New World, and they estimated that being around 2 million Africans died. And there were reasons why they died. Some actually jumped ship. They would rather die in the sharks, with the sharks being eaten, and because they were being removed from their homeland, so they would rather commit suicide than to be removed. Others actually died from illnesses. Their living conditions were deplorable. They were under the ship, so if you can just imagine a coffin space. A coffin, their spaces were smaller than that, and they were crammed on top of each other. It was humid, blood, vomit, all types of, if you could think about the worst living conditions as possible, crammed in there together. Sometimes the slave masters would go down below to somewhat clean up the situation, and what they would use was hot vinegar to pour on the slaves and into the quarters to, I guess, disinfect the area. So if you can imagine being doused with hot vinegar, it wasn't fun. So a lot of Africans died, unfortunately. Upon arriving to the New World, they were groomed to be sold into slavery. So again, families were separated. Fathers were sent to different plantations. Mothers were sent to others. Children were stripped away. So that assisted with the separation of the family. In the South, they actually allowed them to get married. They said, okay, fine, we're going to let you guys get married. So that did help with keeping the family unit together. But in the North, they were against marriages. And those people that actually were married, they deliberately separated the husband and wife, sent the husband to a different location, sent the mother or the wife to a different plantation. So that further created the separation. They actually discouraged marital unions in the North. So along with being separated. The individuals that went through slavery, they were pretty much stripped away of everything that they knew from their culture, cultural values, language, spirituality. Everything was stripped away from them. So if you strip away all the cultural values, the language, you're basically stripping away the mind that disrupted the African mind, so in turn it's going to disrupt the African family. This is going to take me to my next point that assisted with the separation of the African American family, and that was war that took place. There were two wars, Civil War and the Vietnam War. At this point, they took the Africans and enlisted them into the military to fight. And in the Civil War, 180,000 African soldiers fought, 40,000 died in combat, and another 30,000 died of infectious diseases. Another statistic for the Vietnam War, 8,390 people were killed, casualties of wars, and I'm speaking of the African American men that fought in the Vietnam War. So this will take me to my third point, of which has created the separation of the African family. Of course, there's many other reasons, but like I said, I'm going to only focus on three. Another big one that affects us today is incarceration. In the United States currently, there are over 2.2 million people incarcerated. 60% of those individuals are people of color. So just to paint you a picture, I viewed a website, it's called the Sentencing Project, and it kind of broke down incarceration rates by race. So for Caucasian men, 1 in 17 will be incarcerated. For Latino men, 1 in 6 will be incarcerated. And for black men, it will be 1 in 3 will end up incarcerated in their lifetime.
You going to jail.
That's not a good statistic at all. So, as we can see, most of the fathers are in jail. Very sad. I want to go ahead and get into some of the pros and the cons of single-parent homes of African-American families. I'm going to say the biggest negative impact on the single mother and the family unit itself is a lower income poverty level, struggling financially because you don't have that extra income coming in. Single mothers, they, as you said, they suffer from being overworked. They have to hold down a job. They have to pay bills and they have to take care of their children. And a lot of times they do this with minimal support. She also has to deal with the stress of not having that partner, that support system to help to balance her out. So that's going to create a lot of stress for her. She doesn't have a man by her side to tend to her needs, you know, because we have needs as well as mothers and as women. So the single mother, she pretty much just does it all alone. And she's taught that she has to be tough, and she has to do it all by herself. She doesn't get the personal time to regroup because she's so busy taking care of the children and doing all these dual roles simultaneously. The single mothers, they tend to neglect their health as well, and they downplay a lot of their symptoms. So a lot of them suffer with depression, different forms of anxiety, because they're on the go, they don't go to the doctor, and they might have symptoms, but they don't have time to go to the doctor, or they don't have the financial resources to attend the doctor. They're just as well as with the mothers that suffer, children suffer as well, if not more. Children from single-parent homes are more likely to suffer economically, socially, and mentally. Children living in single-parent homes, they're exposed to more stressful situations than most children would if they have both parents in the house. According to Single Parent Success Foundation, just to give you a few statistics, 63% of suicides nationwide are individuals from single-parent homes. 75% of children in chemical dependency hospitals are from single-parent families, and more than half of the youths incarcerated in the United States, they live and they have come from one-parent households. Another statistic is most of the time, children, girls, if their mother was a single mother, their chances are doubled that they will end up being a single mother as well. Same thing with young boys. they are more likely to impregnate a woman and not marry her, or a girl and not marry her due to how he grew up. And this is a psychological term that they use. Is called parental influence. It's basically history continues to repeat itself over and over again. Another term that a lot of people use is called generational curses. I know that the statistics that I gave, they're pretty grim, they're pretty negative. However, there are a lot of positives to single-parent households. Singleparent.org states that some positives are it builds a stronger bond. Like you said, it builds a stronger bond between the mother and the child. The children have shared responsibilities. They know that I have this role to play in order for our house to have a cohesive working environment. And that actually builds their self-esteem because they feel like they're working alongside. They know what they need to do, and it does build self-esteem. Children are able to recognize their value with their contribution to the home. Another positive for the children is they have real life experiences. A lot of times living in a single parent home, it's not all about toys and video games and, you know, just leisure. They're actually working. So it creates a good work ethic for them in the future. It makes them positive, self-reliant, self-sufficient, and they have this attitude that they take with them into their future. And they become very independent in a lot of cases. Single parents and children from single parent homes, they need a lot of support. I can speak for myself. I need a lot of support. It's difficult, but I keep doing it. But I would not be able to do it if I didn't have my family support to assist me in this process, in this transition. So my advice to you is if you do know a single mother, lend a helping hand to her. Lend an ear to her. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. Offer to babysit for her so she can have some time to herself, because everyone needs a moment just to get away, just to breathe.
What's that? What is that?
Right, so what is that? Yeah, true. Every little bit helps, and don't judge her. I feel that a lot of people judge single mothers, thinking that she is tainted because her relationship didn't work out. Somehow it's her fault, but unfortunately, because of the aspects that have assisted with us getting to this point, it's not just, it's a deeper psychological issue. That it affects males and females. So today you've learned that 72% of African American homes are led by single parents, and now you have a few reasons why. You understand why this happened, and I only spoke about 3. There are many others. Spoke about slavery, war, and incarceration. All of those played a tremendous role in the separation of the African family. And just remember, it's our responsibility to grow and to learn from our past mistakes and to nurture our family structure, because if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it for us. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child, but first we must become that village, and we must come together with a common goal of rebuilding the family structure in order to tackle this epidemic called single parenting.
Excellent.
Yeah. Any questions, comments? I do.
Always.
Yes. Please don't get mad at me.
No.
Please.
Oh,
please,
Lord.
please. Don't get mad at me.
I'm going to say mine first.
All right, don't get
Okay,
mad
now
at me.
I was listening to you the 3 stages, and you know when they say the slavery, when they separated
Yes.
the father, the mother, you think they, and I know it can be a big portion, but you don't think, no offense, okay? No offense.
I'm not taking
This is your personal.
Nobody no
This
offense.
is an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm going to blame it on the Caucasians.
Oh. Why?
Because
Okay.
we were slaves, don't say, I ain't blaming them, I ain't blaming nobody, I'm just, I shouldn't say it like
You blame it on
Oh.
slavery.
Yeah, slavery.
Okay,
And
that's better.
that's the reason why there's so many African Americans that is not married, single. And
Because of the separation part.
But no.
But see, that resentment carries on, and it's still a problem. But that's beside the point.
And like you said, that's a true statement, because a lot of people that never grew up with their mother and father together, and I'm part of it. I never thought about that marriage. So my mother was a single mother, 3 boys. She never in her life been married. And my dad, he'd been married so many times, but it's just the way he is. His marriage now, he was married for like, I think 21 years now. But that's a real true statement.
Mm-hmm.
If you grow up in a household when you're single parent, most likely you'll be single too.
Mm-hmm.
And don't know how to really treat nobody. So
Or you can learn from their
yeah, learn from their mistakes.
mistakes or lack of My parents got divorced at after 21 years of marriage, and I learned a lot from my mom. A lot. Negative experiences in your life should teach you valuable lessons. Should.
Once I ever get married, I ain't never getting divorced. We both got to deal with
You better stick it out.
You
know what? I said that too.
I'm dead serious. I can get married once, and hey, you got to divorce me.
I think
I said that
Stuck
too.
like Chuck.
first I'm gonna piggyback on what Q is saying. I think people, and this is not being funny, people need to realize there's a race problem, and I'm not trying to be funny. Nobody on average like African Americans. Not even African Americans do. I'm not trying to be funny.
No, you're right.
If you read, I'm saying people read. Look at how media portrays
You know what? I have a video.
African American males. Like you see what I'm saying? Like
They act like y'all.
they're like we the worst thing. We the worst thing in the world to be African. Oh, what? You better not have no dreads. You better not have no tattoo. You better not be having no little muscles on you, or wearing all black, or walking in with 2 or 3. That's the problem. You know, it's a problem. You look at one of the worst riots in America. It wasn't by African Americans. It was by Caucasians over a hockey game. They won, and they destroyed the city, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And you look at like Bill Cosby. He did all this stuff with his women. If he did one of those things, he wrong. He should go to jail. I agree with that. You shouldn't rape nobody. Go to jail. But Charlie Sheen giving people AIDS. You hear about that? It's not on that. Any TV show you see an African American male, it's we stupid, we dumb, we don't know nothing. Either way, I think there is a race problem in America. Anytime the kid ran his car inside of the car dealership, the cop, his back turned, he running. The cop shoot him in the back. For what? Why'd you shoot this kid in the back, man? He said, oh, I thought it ain't your taser. Come on, man. Are you serious? There is. I know it is. I know for a fact. There is a thing with an African American male. It's not for not everybody, but I think about 60% even African Americans feel that way. When an African American male, there's something. There's just something. You know, in Mexico, there's tons of Africans nobody talk about. In India, where my grandma people from, they call Cetus. There's tons of Africans. You won't hear nothing about these people, but these people are always pushed. And that's like, my wife even made a comment and said, I don't argue. I'm just not that person. My wife was like, Mario, he can't have no toy guns. He can't walk outside with no hood on. I'm like, why? Right. Why can't he do those things? If he want to wear a hood, I grew up with toy guns. I mean, he may not be out in the street with it. He could be in the house. I get to understand that. But there is a thing against African American. There is. Women are different. I think people do feel the way about women. You know, I do. But other people will, I can sleep with her. You know, it's something, you know. But for a male, I think there's this thing. I know people of other cultures Chinese. I got friends European, and they'll tell you, oh, my grandparents, oh, no. They were, not finna have it, you know. And I feel like, to me, there is a problem. And somebody say that racism isn't a problem now. No, racism is a problem. And if we don't watch it, you're going to see us. Segregation is starting to happen all over again. And we're going backwards. We're going backwards. And I know, for me, I feel a way about it because I got 2 kids. I remember seeing on the news when this lady didn't like the fact that there were African-American kids in the neighborhood. They invite these kids over for a pool party. The kid said it. The Caucasian kid said, they walked right by all of us and attacked them. They walked right by us and got them. For what? They said, these are my friends. They come in here playing. Why? What is it about somebody? Anything that you see is black, there's a problem. Got a black shirt, problem. Wear a white shirt, oh, you must be cool. Jesus he's in all white, blue regalia. But the Bible don't say that. The Bible don't say it that way. If you look at the world, when you eat food, it's the white bread and stuff. I'm not condoning white. That's not what I'm doing. It's things of color that are healthy for you.